name is Maurice Barnes, and I've been with RICNET since the very beginning because I was a part of the team which instigated the idea of RICNET. The idea was to make sure that we could have information distributed amongst the people of the Wurundjeri region, because we found in a workshop where we all came together to see what the main difficulties for development in the Wurundjeri region were, the lack of information and the ability to distribute reliable and good information amongst the people was the major frustration for development at that time within the region. So we wanted to have RICNET, which would have information centres throughout the region. In every sub-county, we wanted to see an information centre so that people could go and get information about almost anything they wanted, whether it be agriculture, human rights, microfinance, business, crops, almost anything, government's issues. We wanted them to have that available locally, and for our information centres to be able to collect that information. So it would be a two-way. We would learn from the people, and the people would learn from each other and from elsewhere. So we started this program, and RICNET was the organisation which was mandated to really help people in the region, and it was a members-led organisation. So those people who got involved in setting up these information centres became the owners of RICNET. And RICNET tried its best. It got some donor funding, but we found a major constraint in that it was hard for local people to really understand how to do this, and it was even harder for them to do it on a purely voluntary basis. Some of the centres did very well in becoming self-reliant. They provided information, they provided other things to the community which allowed them to be able to undertake their work without donor support. And it was those centres which did very well and have become still vibrant centres of information within the region.
So RIC was created as a stop center where these local people, these farmers, can be able to find information in some areas, because you find some people someone is not even able to buy a newspaper. Now BIC came up with the idea, if we can provide at least these newspapers that are read by most of the people, that is New Vision and Monitor. We can provide those two letters, and people who will be coming in to read the information could be sharing. Maybe if they are 5, one can first read the Monitor, and as another one is reading the Vision, and they keep on exchanging. On top of that, we could acquire like magazines to keep these people who are waiting to read also the newspapers, they keep on reading those newsletters. On top of that, we had the CDs having like this information of farmers on how to control disease and pests of crops. We could display them on our video screen. Then people come there, they learn at least. Some other videos on like HIV prevention. On top of that, we add on some entertainments like cultural dance.
But many of the centres failed to do that. They only could rely on funds from donors channeled through RICNET or channeled through Cabroli Research and Resource Centre, and when they become dependent on external funds, that's where they often failed. But nevertheless, many of them have done very well, and RICNET as an organisation has gone from strength to strength, and it has moved into a number of other fields such as election monitoring, human rights monitoring, corruption monitoring, and it is now joined forces with other similar organisations throughout Uganda. So I'm very much hoping and wishing that RICNET will go from strength to strength. But one thing I must say and must emphasise It's all very well if it does things on a national level, but in the end, where the key information is required is in the villages, the parishes, the households and the individuals of the Rwenzori region. And I hope that with all the difficulties and challenges, RICNET never forgets that that is its main mission and vision, because to have an empowered society, which we so desperately need here in Uganda, that society must be well informed.
Are there any uncompleted projects, schools, water sources, unresolved development issues, embezzled and misused funds, any denial and delay of services, drugs, safe and clean water, or good roads in your community? Do not hesitate to speak out or demand for your entitlements. RICNET is geared at voicing out the silence and the silent issues in the community.